Hey there, my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobra's Nest. For those of you who are new, my name is Mignon Cobra, and I make videos on minimalism. So today's minimalism video is going to be how to finally find peace in minimalism. So I wanted to share a different perspective on my take recently on minimalism. I got just 3 things that I want to talk about to keep the video nice, sweet, and short, because I know time is money, and yeah, nobody likes a long video, / I don't want to edit a long video. So without further ado, let's just get into the video. Let's get it. Let's go. Woo. Okay, so coming in at number 1, Buddha was a prince who had everything. So I think this one's kind of an interesting perspective. So I'll give you a little bit of background info in case you don't really know what that means. There's Buddha, it's like the creator of like Buddhism. So actually he used to be an Indian prince who had like everything, you know, lots of wives, children, money, riches, and he gave all of it up in order to become like a monk and become enlightened and essentially live with like close to like nothing. I mean, I wouldn't say nothing. I mean, I'm sure he had like a bowl and a couple of changes of clothes and whatnot. But I think it's a really interesting perspective that minimalism is wonderful, and I absolutely love the lifestyle. Hence why I have a channel of 700 videos on minimalism. But something that's like really been like something I've been chewing on recently is that like I always thought it was interesting once I transitioned from like minimalism into Buddhism and like exploring Buddhism and whatnot, that it's like the leader of this religion was someone who had everything. And I always thought like there's something ironic in that. Like there's something to be said about that. And the reason that I say all of this is because like I have definitely struggled in my minimalism. I have not been a perfect minimalist. I think the reason I've been able to make so many videos on minimalism is because like it has not been an easy journey for me. I could definitely chalk it up to things like I live in a Western capitalistic society and we are told more is more. Like I could, you know, take the easy route and blame that, but it's probably just a me problem. I struggled with my minimalism because I was like, how can I be happy unless like this is not, I'm not finding this easy. And so I would think about that concept that I was like, Buddha, when he was a prince, he had everything and he's so happy in nothing. And I think that that's something that really resonates with me now. And I'm thinking of the best way to say this without sounding elitist or braggy or anything like that. But where I currently am, I have a lot of my wish list items that I dreamt of for like years and decades. I have like a plethora. I have an abundance of all of the goodies I've ever wanted. And I am so at peace. I'm like really happy. And it's really conflicting because as like a hardcore minimalist, somebody who's been a minimalist for a decade, that's literally 1/3 of my life, I have really truly wanted to believe in this idea that like money doesn't bring happiness. And it's been so hard for me to wrestle with the idea that like money and material possessions have brought me so much joy that I'm just like, so I wanted to share that story because I want to say that like I've actually found a lot of peace in my wealth. I have found a lot of peace in abundance and prosperity, and I have found a lot of happiness in my material possessions. And I just wanted to share that experience because I feel like I'm supposed to be a good minimalist, and don't get me wrong, like I definitely believe in this whole idea of like don't collect material possessions, go on holiday, accumulate like experiences. I definitely wholeheartedly believe in that, but I just kind of wanted to bring to the table as somebody who is, you know, I'm Buddhist. I picked up Buddhism in my minimalism journey, and in that experience, I was like, maybe the reason that Buddha had a really good time in being like, found a lot of peace and happiness as a Buddhistic leader is because like he already had everything. And so I feel like that's kind of where I'm at in my journey, is that kind of understanding that like I think about that and I'm like, maybe that's why Buddha was so happy. I think it's really easy to be happy when you've experienced, you know, abundance and wealth. And I offer that up because if you are struggling in your minimalism journey, I definitely have. I like to be transparent. I found a lot of peace and I'm currently a lot more peaceful right now. Way more peaceful than I was during my extreme minimalism days. I was deeply unhappy in my extreme minimalism days, if I'm being completely honest. I'm not one of those minimalists. I so badly wanted to be one of those minimalists that was like, I have found so much peace in my extreme minimalism. I found myself very unhappy. I found myself deeply discontent. And obviously this is just probably me problems, but I just wanted to share that perspective up. That if you're on a minimalism journey, perhaps Marie Kondo got it right when she was like, does it spark joy? I have found a lot more happiness and peace in having that kind of mindset versus the Fumio mindset. Having experienced both, I feel like the Fumio just didn't really work out for me, and I feel like the Marie Kondo Does It Spark Joy has brought me a lot more peace and fulfillment. So I just wanted to share that up with my Cobra babies. Hey there, my handsome and pretty little Cobras. So time for a quick little commercial break. So I want to say a big thank you to Tipify for partnering with me for today's for today's video. So they have kindly gifted me a replica bag in exchange for a review, and I wanted to unbox that with you guys. So yeah, all of their details will be listed down below if you are interested. A full disclaimer, if these are not your cup of tea, no worries, just hit next and continue on with the video, or I'll see you next week. So they've sent me a Saint Laurent bag, and this is the YSL Gabby in black, and I'm really excited to share that with you guys because you guys know I have the white one. So this is really cool to have the black and the white. So let's go ahead and open that up. So it comes in a dust bag like this. And on the inside, you have some paperwork and stickers, which is always phenomenal and fantastic. So what the box looks like. All right, so let's unbox the bag. Oh my gosh, that's so lovely. The dimensions are really good. This is really similar. Oh my gosh. It has the logo, the same type of print. It has the double zippers. Oh, these zippers are smooth. One of the issues I have with my Gabby is the zipper like gets stuck all the time. Wow, that is smooth. Oh my gosh. And then inside we have the straps. And this is what the inside of the bag looks like. So it is lined with plastic, which is different from, I guess, my Gabby, which is leather. But that's pretty cool. I don't have to worry about spilling anything because I do baby the hell out of my own Gabby. So let's tear this off. Right, let's zip that up. And here is what the handle looks like. She's seen better days. It got a little bit squished in travel. And the straps, says Saint Laurent on the buckle. And the straps come with the brass detailing. It says Paris on them. So let's go ahead and clip that on, just like so, and then on the other side as well. And let me model that for you guys. So freaking cute, absolutely love it. So I want to say a big thank you to Tipify. I have all of their details listed down below, and I also have a discount code, Mignon, and all of that is down in the description box below. So again, a big thank you, and yeah, let's continue on with today's regularly scheduled program. Okay, so coming in at number 2, having everything. I think it's a tough one because like sometimes I have these conversations with my students, deeper discussions. It's really cute because like they're like grade 8, grade 7, and like sometimes I kind of want to see what children have to say about these things. I'd be like, especially when we're reading some of like looking at things through the Marxist lens, I'm like, so do you think money buys happiness? And it's really interesting to see that like some students, for different reasons, I won't get into it, but like, yeah, I have had some students say like, yeah, I do think that money buys happiness. And I have other students who are like, no, being materialistic will not make you happy. So I feel like it could just be like an upbringing thing, could also be personality. I really do think there's a lot of factors, but I think that something that has helped me a lot, actually, so Alex Hormozi, watching his content, I've always kind of wanted to know the opinion of certain things. I feel like hold more weight when they come from a different place. Like somehow it's never really resonated with me when I would listen to other minimalists talk about like,
even if I had money, I wouldn't even buy a luxury car, or like I wouldn't even want to live in a mansion. You know, I don't even want.
And like, I guess what I wondered was like, it's hard to take serious the opinions of people who have not had the experience. I've never been into space, but I feel like the opinion of an astronaut would probably make more sense about what it's like to be up in space than for me to have theories about what it's like to be in space. So listening to Alex Hormozi has actually brought me a lot of peace also in my minimalism about, in my opinion, maybe in his mind, he feels like he doesn't have everything and wealth is relative, but like hearing him talk about some of these concepts has really freed me a lot because I've kind of always wondered what would be the opinion, because like we can't ask Buddha what he thinks, he's gone. So it's really nice to get these kind of sentiments. Emperor Marcus Aurelius, he would write in his own diary his own thoughts, and he's just a man, and he had the weight of being an emperor on his shoulders. And reading, I find it to be very freeing reading what people who have everything have to say, and like the things that they say, some of the things that they've advocated for are just like true raw minimalistic, and I'm like, okay, yes. And I have found a lot of peace in that. And I think that if you have grown tired of listening to minimalists constantly preaching less, and you're like, I don't know about this, like if you're feeling like doubts and things like that, I actually think you might find a lot more strength in your minimalism if you go in the opposite direction and you start listening to what people who have quote unquote everything have to say, you might feel like you might resonate a little bit more with the minimalism, because and I want to say, like, I'll add my personal take on this, because at the end of the day I can only speak for Nat, is that a lot of my minimalism mantras definitely hold a whole lot more weight in more. I definitely found the lifestyle to be kind of full of like a lot of like bullshit, if I'm being completely honest. When I had nothing, it was extremely difficult to kind of like, it was really difficult for me to believe some of the minimalism mantra when I was an extreme minimalist. I found it very difficult, and I actually find a lot more peace now in the abundance that I live in. Some of the minimalism stuff holds a whole lot more weight. I find that like I actually much more enjoy the lifestyle, and I just think like that's very interesting, because I couldn't have possibly been able to give this kind of advice or offer this kind of experience or share this kind of experience with you guys if I didn't have that experience. And totally not what I expected. I didn't think that. I thought that maybe in this clutter or this abundance I was going to feel horrible. And again, caveat, yes, sometimes the clutter is very annoying, but I do think that is something worth sharing, because it's unexpected. I didn't expect that, and I don't know if that could resonate with anybody else, but I just wanted to share that because I think it is very important to be authentic and real. And I think this is being authentic, because if you think about my niche, right, my minimalism niche, when you just say or do things that are not stereotypical, you tend to get a lot of backlash. And so I have to get a lot of strength to be able to say these things, because like there's been plenty of times my controversial or my hot takes are not well received by my own community, and people are like, that's not being authentic. And I completely understand that. I think people come to a certain niche expecting the classic stereotypes. So sometimes when you have different experiences, they may feel like that's not valid, and I completely respect that. But I still feel at the end of the day, I'm actually very comfortable in still expressing my authentic and true self, even though it is totally not what people want to hear. I think that that's not being authentic, and so that's why I still share this. Okay, so coming in at number 3, not having it is as good as having it. So this is something that I recently listened to or heard from Alex Hormozi. I was like watching one of his videos, and he was talking about how like he recently had a conversation with a friend who was having that kind of dilemma. His friend was like, oh, I want a boss babe for like a wife, but at the same time I also want a wife who stays home. What should I do? And then Alex gave this a good analogy of like, that's kind of like saying like, I kind of want a woman who's tall, but at the same time I still want her to be short. It's like you gotta pick one, man. It's like you gotta pick one. Like certain things in life, like there's costs to things. You have to make decisions, and some decisions have the opposite cost. And I think that one is a great one. It's like you want her to be tall while at the same time you want her to be short. It's like, yes, there's certain costs. He also gave the analogy of like, it's like driving a car, you only have so much gas. I feel like people will figure out a way to be like, but then just get more gas. But I love the analogy of like, it cannot be both at the same time. And it's looking at things that are within that realm of like being both things at the same time. You have to make a decision. And I think that coming back to what he said of like, it's not having it is as good as having it has like really freed him, because I consider myself very ambitious. I struggle with that. Like I actually really deeply struggle with that of like, okay, what's the next goal? What is the next progress? Like where are we going? Like what's next? Like every time I hit a goal, I find myself being like, okay, we love that, but like what is the next step? And I think hearing somebody who is like millennia miles, like eons away from what I think I could ever accomplish or even thought was humanly possible, and like the man and I are like the same age, not having it is as good as having it has really freed me, because I think like I'm constantly making like wish lists or like goals that I need to hit, and like I don't feel a sense of relief until I accomplish them, and then I feel like empty again, and then I feel like I need to create another list and just like start the whole process all over again. I mean, I do find a lot of joy in the process, but I think that sometimes I also do fall into the trap of feeling frustrated when I don't meet certain goals, and then I feel like I'm less than, or I feel a sense of like void or emptiness. But I think that sometimes thinking, well, actually, if he has figured out that maybe sometimes not having it is as good as having it, I've tried to apply that to my own life, and I actually have definitely found a lot of peace in that. And I think that I feel like I've like thrown into the minimalism roster of like life philosophies and ideologies that have like freed me. When I think about things that I don't have, I think like, okay, you having it or you not having it, it's like about the same. And I think I'm kind of starting to understand that concept too. There were plenty of things where I was like, I feel like I needed it so badly, and like I'm just gonna die if I don't buy it. And like I have bought certain things, and at the time I felt like deep joy, and I felt like my life would be so complete and this thing is gonna fix my life. And like I've like relegated some of them to the back of my closet, and on some days I don't even remember I have it. It's as almost if I was like I didn't even have it. It isn't until like sometimes I go to my closet and I'm like, oh, I forgot about you. So I have started to experience that feeling of like, yeah, maybe not having it is probably about the same. And so I think that I don't have a conclusion or anything I can offer up in that sentiment, but I just wanted to share that with you guys, because if you are on a minimalism journey and you've been kind of like struggling, or if you are struggling, I just wanted to share that perspective, that different thought paradigm, and maybe you can apply it to your own life and see if that can help mitigate some of the strain or struggle you've been feeling. So thank you for coming along to my mini TED Talk. And I will see my Cobra babies in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.